What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk about TSNP stock or Humbl stock. And the reason for this is because some major news came out regarding the business at a recent investor conference call. Now, I did listen to this, and today I'm going to be sharing some of those highlights with you guys. Now, this video can be broken up into three main parts. In part one, we're going to talk about what actually happened to the stock price on Friday. In part two, we're going to talk about some major developments for the actual business. And then in part three, I'm going to get into some of the milestones that Humbl has laid out for 2021 and how they're tracking on it. So if that's what you guys are here for today, then sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, smash the thumbs up button, and let's get into it. So I'm not sure if you noticed, but at the start of trading on Friday, the ticker symbol changed from TSNP to TSNPD, and the stock price just magically jumped from $1 to $4 a share. Now, if you were hoping they jumped 300%, I'm sorry to tell you, but that's not the case. They actually announced that they would be doing a 4-to-1 stock split, which means that for every 4 shares you held, you now have 1. And in case you guys aren't familiar with this process, this does not change the value of your position at all because the stock price increases at the same proportion that the split happens. So you don't have to worry about your money just disappearing into thin air. Now, usually companies will do this for negative reasons. It's usually some company that's trading below the minimum stock price requirements for senior exchanges like the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ, and to artificially inflate their stock price, they issue a reverse split. Now, in Humbl's case, they did this for 3 main reasons. The first reason was to reduce the number of outstanding shares because originally they had 4 billion outstanding shares, which is just a ridiculous amount, and now they have 1 billion, which is still a lot, but it's obviously significantly less. Now, the second reason was to reduce volatility in the stock price, and the final reason was to make the shorts cover their position, which could explain why the stock was up 42%. Now, on the topic of share counts, they did assure us on the investor call that there are absolutely 0 plans for shareholder dilution throughout the rest of this year. This is obviously a big deal because this tells me that management is confident they're going to have enough cash inflows to cover their expenses, at least in the near term. Now, given that this is still a new startup, if they can get through their earliest years without having to dilute shareholders, then I would expect that in the coming years moving forward that there should be no shareholder dilution, unless of course they see instant success and they try to scale even faster, which in that case they might need some extra cash on hand. So in my own personal opinion, I'm actually happy to see the reverse split because I do want to see the number of outstanding shares come down dramatically. And in the future, I do want to see it become less than 1 billion. So overall, I'm happy with the stock price news. Let's get into part 2, which is the actual business. Now, the first of the 3 major developments that I want to talk about revolves around their app. I know a lot of people are excited to hear an update about this, and to give you some good news, it has gotten approval to be listed on the App Store. Right now, it sounds like they're expecting it to go live within the next 4 to 6 weeks as they continue to run stress tests in the beta version. Now, Brian Foote, the CEO, basically said that they want to pack as many features as possible before they launch, and so that's why it's been taking a while to work out some of the bugs and really make the necessary adjustments. Now, of course, I will be watching this very closely because I really feel like this is going to set the tone for the years to come. If they can get rapid adoption of their app in these underserved regions, I really think we could see this thing take off quickly. Now, the second major announcement from the investor call is about the recent acquisition of Tickeri. So on the call, Brian announced that they closed a deal to acquire Tickeri for $20 million in stock and cash. And as we go through this, you'll see why this could potentially be a steal and bring an insane return on investment for Humbl. So Tickeri is a ticketing platform that allows users to buy tickets for various events at different entertainment venues. You can really think of them like a StubHub or Ticketmaster, but for Latin America and other countries outside the United States. Now, this acquisition brings extreme upside potential because Tickeri also already has an established relationship with several artists and partners like Live Nation, Bands in Town, Boost Mobile, and even Heineken. Now, to make the deal even better, they also have an existing presence here in the United States with market reach in more than 45 states and over 5,000 venues. So while the US isn't their primary market, they do have existing customers here that Humbl can build off of. So from a high level, Humbl is looking to attack the following verticals with within the entertainment industry. You have concerts, events, festivals, arenas, sports, and casinos. Now, I like this acquisition for two main reasons. The first is that this just adds another revenue stream for Humbl in addition to Humbl merchants and Humbl financial products. The second reason is because they're just continuing to find ways to make Humbl a one-stop shop for all things related to digital transactions. I know I've already made this comparison before, but I'm going to do it again. They're trying to be Square, Venmo, and PayPal all in one with more features. So overall, this acquisition couldn't have come at a better time. With the rollout of the V-Shot, I think we're going to see a hockey stick recovery in the events industry. And I can tell you from my own personal feelings that I feel like there's a lot of pent-up demand to go back to doing the things that we could do pre-Roni Rona. So overall, I think this is a great acquisition, and I'm very excited to see how this plays out in the future. Now, with that being said, let's get to the final announcement, which has to do with the Humbl marketplace. So on the call, Brian also mentioned that they would be adding NFTs, which stands for non-fungible tokens. Essentially, these are digital assets that can be transferred to other people. For example, think of like digital trading cards or really anything that can be traded from one user to another online. Now, we already know Brian Foote is a big advocate for cryptocurrency and blockchain, and NFTs need the blockchain to be successful. Because with this, you can actively track each transaction, having proof that each item exists and who owns them. Now, this is an industry that I'm expecting to explode over the next decade. I recently started buying digital NBA trading cards on Top Shot, which I know sounds crazy, but there's been a ton of hype recently, and it's really been getting a crazy amount of exposure. To put this in perspective, on Friday, there was a pack drop with more than 200,000 people waiting in line and only 11,000 packs available. Now, I was lucky enough to get a spot under 11,000, and I was able to flip this Kyle Lowry assist for $1,000. Again, I know this sounds insane, so if you want a dedicated video with my opinion on the pros and cons of this new digital trading platform, then let me know down in the comments, and I can definitely do like a one-off video from my normal content. Now, the reason I brought up Top Shot is because these trading cards are literally NFTs, and I think by Humbl adding this to the Humbl marketplace, this really separates them from all the other fintech giants that I mentioned. So obviously there was a ton of good announcements that came out of the investor call, and to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if the stock price moved higher on Monday because, let's be honest, this is all phenomenal news. So with all that being said, let's move into part 3, which is to take a look at the milestones for 2021. So obviously, starting with Q4, they have already completed the reverse merger. They launched Humbl Studios just in time for Christmas. And as you all already know, they were actively pursuing acquisitions. Now, on the investor call, they did confirm that the ticker symbol will be changing to HMBL on March 26th. So that's already complete. And in my last video, I talked about the launch of Humbl Financial and why this was such a big deal. So if you want to know more about that, be sure to check that video out. Now, Brian did mention that they're already in the process of finalizing country rights as more and more nations look for a digital way of transacting payments. So from what I heard, it sounds like Humbl is executing at a very high level and they're really hitting all of their target goals. Now, looking towards the rest of the year, Q2's biggest milestone is to launch the Humbl mobile app, which we already know is going to happen within the next several weeks. Now, they're also already in the process of getting audited company financials, and they're ahead of schedule when it comes to government RFPs and finalizing deals with banking and merchant partners. So I don't know about you guys, but I am super excited to see where this company goes in the near term and the long term. I know I've already said this before, but they're not building Humbl for the hundreds of millions of people that are already using Apple Pay and PayPal, rather for the 7 billion people that don't have the same access to these services. Now, if you guys want to learn more about the total addressable market for this industry, then be sure to check out my ARK Invest 2021 Big Ideas video, because in that I go more in depth on the potential for digital wallets. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's update on one of my favorite stocks, Humbl, and if you did, be sure to smash that like button and let me know down in the comments which one of these news pieces were your favorite. So with that said, guys, thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.